Hey guys, my name is Cassandra, and today in this video I'm going to be sharing with you 5 myths that you hear about living in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. We moved here in December of last year, so we've been here about 9 months so far, and we definitely heard quite a few things before we moved here about what it would be like. And a lot of those things have turned out to not be true at all. And so that was part of my inspiration for creating this channel. I had no idea what to expect because I couldn't really find videos on people just living here. You know, there was videos of people visiting and, you know, downtown tours and things like that that I could find, but nothing really about people's lives here. And so now, just so you know, we come from Southern Ontario, in between Toronto and Ottawa. We've lived in a couple areas down there. I have done quite a few videos, if you guys haven't seen, on things like some strange things about living here, some pros and cons. They're all in a playlist called Moving to Yellowknife. There's also a Visiting to Yellowknife playlist, so I'll link both of those down below for you. So definitely give this a thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. So let's get started. So the first thing that we heard was that you won't be able to buy fruit or bread. Those were the main two things we would hear, like fruit and vegetables and bread, because they would just be too expensive. Now, people get, I think, the Northwest Territories confused with Nunavut. Nunavut? I don't know. I always feel like I'm saying that wrong. I did watch some videos on Nunavut before I came, what it's like to live there, and it seems, at least, I've never lived there myself, but it seems very different. Also, a thing that really bugged me was people would always say it in such a negative way. This comment, like, I remember some person that I didn't even know, I remember them being like, "Oh, I hope you have a bread maker." "Yeah, I have a bread maker, but why?" And she's like, "Well, you won't be able to afford bread there. I had so-and-so, you know, used to live there that I knew, and they said they couldn't even afford bread. It was so expensive." And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure the grocery prices are pretty normal. You know, they're a little inflated because they're, you know, there's not any like cheap stores or whatever. There's just like, how do you say that? Like, there's not any discount stores. There's just regular grocery stores. But anyway, so that she was just so rude about it, like, well, you'll never be able to afford it. Like, you know, that's what people always treated us, like, oh yeah, you'll be back kind of thing. I've always not liked that. That's always bugged me. People have always said things like that to me, like, oh, you can't do that. You're not going to like it and whatever. I don't know. It drives me nuts. So anyways, the bread thing we got, but mostly the fruit and vegetables. And that's because they are super expensive in Iqaluit and Nunavut. For the most part, things are pretty normally priced. And if you guys haven't seen my grocery hauls or things like that, you should check them out and see if, you know, what you think, if the food's comparable. I mean, it's definitely more expensive for sure. Like, we have a budget of $800 for a family of 4. But we are like foodies. Like, I also like to stockpile food a little bit. So like, we buy a lot of food and, you know, we're also like mega fatties. So like, I like my treats. Okay. So like, anyway, so you can, you know, if you're trying to live on a budget and stuff, then you can, like, yeah. Don't let that freak you out, people telling you that. So that is a total myth about living here. Okay, so the next one I used to hear a lot was, well, more like people used to ask me, like, are there roads? Do you need a snowmobile to get around? And that kind of thing. And I just want to tell you that that is definitely a myth. It is like a normal city. There are city buildings, there are roads, although one funny thing, and if you've seen my funny things about Yellowknife, that's in this video, but they don't plow the roads, so that's interesting, especially when there's snow on the ground for like 8 months of the year. They have an interesting system of doing the roads here. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. You don't need a snowmobile, although, you know, it would be handy if you wanted to save money in gas and stuff, especially if you're into the outdoors and you might have a snowmobile. But no, a car is fine for the roads here. So the next one is, people used to more ask me, again, more than be judgy about this one, but is there always snow on the ground? So is there a summer? I think people are often surprised when they see my Yellowknife in summer months, like Yellowknife in July, Yellowknife in June. I always get some comments like, oh, there's no snow. So that's definitely a myth about living here. The summers are definitely shorter, and it's more like there's 2 seasons. Like, it's winter and then it's summer. Like, the fall and spring are kind of missing, it seems. But again, I haven't been here for fall yet, so I'll let you know. But yeah, it's kind of strange that way. But there are summers here, and a lot of people really love the summers here. They're beautiful. I'm not so fond of the bug part so far. I mean, the early summer, like June, even beginning of July, beautiful for hiking and everything, beach, whatever. The bugs were manageable. Only the bugs this month, as you'll see in my Yellowknife in August video, they're getting to me. They drive me nutty. They don't seem to mind it as much. The rest of my family, it's really only me, but like, I don't know. I'm not handling that very well. I actually, and the heat, like it gets too hot for me still here. So I'm like boiling hot. It drives me nutty. I really appreciate the long winters. It's so, I just feels like this is where I was supposed to be. Like I like it. Maybe, I remember like when I was thinner before, it did not bother me as much. So maybe that's just like for right now. Maybe when I get thin, you know, when I get healthy again, maybe it won't bother me as much. But anyway, I'll give you an update in a couple of years on how that is. Number 4 is that you can't grow a garden here. People say that a lot. Oh, you can't grow any food, which would make sense. Or even the opposite, like, oh, food must grow better there in the summer because it's almost light all the time. But it's neither are really true. So I don't think things grow better here, even with the all the time light, just because I think it's still not long enough for most of the time that food needs to grow. You can definitely grow some food here, and a lot of people actually seem to have greenhouses. So they definitely have gardens. Half of my neighbors have like little gardens on their porches. So it's definitely something. And I was talking to my one neighbor there, and he was like, yeah, I just miss it. I miss having a greenhouse at my old house. And so, you know, he just like grows things in big bins and stuff now. So it's really cool. Definitely, like our old house, we used to have like a million little pots that we grew tomatoes in and stuff. You definitely can grow things here, but, you know, maybe not as many foods, of course, as where we're from in Ontario. You can grow quite a few things in Ontario, but yeah, you can definitely have a garden, especially like flowers and stuff, for sure. So the last one is about coats here. People told us, like, make sure you get a Canada Goose coat, or, you know, something that is just as warm, because you're gonna need it. And there are like 2 or 3 months of the year where it is cold. Like, it's cold, but it's not as bad as we expected. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, whatever, but it's true. It's not as bad. It's not like you're standing outside, like just having a party or something for hours. Like, I mean, and you're not really hiking and stuff. But we even went hiking in December at some points and it was fine. The best thing to do is wear layers. I get questions like this all the time, especially some of you who are moving here. It's really cool, by the way, guys, when you email me and tell me that you're moving here. I love that. Or, you know, leave me a comment or whatever. You don't have to email me, but quite a few of you have done that, and I think it's really cool. I really like to hear, you know, what's going on and how it's gone for you and stuff like that. A lot of you ask me about the clothes or tell me, like, where do you get your clothes and things, and we definitely panicked about that. Like, I made Chris take us to everything. We went to visit his dad in Calgary, and so we went to all the stores there, and that was wise, definitely. I don't really know what's available here, especially for kids. There's like seems to be a limited selection, but I do see a lot of things used all the time on Facebook. Definitely for kids, you're going to want to get some warm stuff for sure, like the toaster suits, stuff like that. But even then, like, those are not handy for a lot of the winter months when it is more mild. So in those really cold months, I just suggest layers. Get a warm coat, but don't get too warm of a coat because it's going to be too hot for when you're outside. Like, Chris got a coat and he said he regretted it because when he walked to work and stuff every day, he was like sweltering. Like, these are in the freezing months. Like, I'm talking about like January, February, December. He said this, like, he's like, I'm sweltering by the time I get there because it's way too hot. So by the time he had his, you know, stuff on underneath, he was just too hot. Same with the mittens and stuff. Like, we got like insane mittens, and that I would more layer my mittens. I'd be more inclined to just get a decent pair of mittens and layer them, because even the warmest pair of mittens, they're either going to be way too hot most of the time, or they're not even going to be good enough on their own when it's freezing. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Getting layers is a way better idea. I hope I'm getting my point across here. Of course, if you guys have any more questions about things like that, feel free to contact me anytime. Leave a comment down below. That also helps my channel out. When you guys comment, it thinks, you know, YouTube thinks you're interested in the content. Also, when you give it a thumbs up, so make sure you do that. And that helps me too. So you're helping me, I'm helping you, hopefully. It's a mutually beneficial relationship. So anyway, I hope this has been interesting to you. I feel like I've rambled on forever. You guys are probably clicked off by now, but I appreciate you guys so much. Every one of you who subscribed and watched my videos. I am so grateful. Yeah, thank you. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video.